Hey there, Fletch from All Things Overlanding here, and today, welcome to my messy garage. I've got my Infiniti in here, I've got my truck sitting outside, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about this Garvee oil drain. This thing is awesome if you have a lift, especially in your garage, or if you do a lot of oil changes, a lot of your own car maintenance. This thing has a built-in pump. It has a ton of capacity. So again, if you were looking for a way to quickly and easily drain fluids from a vehicle and store them, and then also be able to pump them out into containers to take them to, say, an AutoZone to dump them off, this thing can do it all. So again, I'm going to walk you through this thing. I'm going to kind of show you all the features. I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to show it in use. I already did an oil change, so it's full of some dirty oil in there. So again, this thing, if you are more of a do-it-yourself car guy, this thing may be a good option. So I wanted to share it with you. So let's dive into the Garvee oil drain with pump now.
Understand where it came from, but you got it, my got it. It began in the land of the sandstorm. I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you gave to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, so sorry for the messy garage. This is kind of the normal state of things for me, unfortunately. I actually did go through here and clean this all out recently so that I could get the Infiniti in here. So this is my new sort of daily driver, I guess, for the warmer months. And then, of course, I have the truck that sits outside all the time because it's too big to fit in the garage. So now I've got this Infiniti in here, and I love this thing, but it had an oil leak when I bought it. And it's sitting on top of my scissor lift right now. But so previously I had lifted this car up and I'd pulled the oil pan off of it, which again, having this thing, you can see, I'll put the dimensions up here on screen for how wide this thing is compared to my old oil pan. Let me grab that. So just to kind of show you, for years and years, I've used this sort of plastic one. I think I got it at like a Walmart or something years and years ago. Not bad, works okay, right? But as you can see, there is a huge difference in just the surface area and the space in it. Also, because of the solid nature of the top of this one, whenever oil or any sort of fluid would hit it, it would tend to splatter and splash. Whereas this one with the grate on top, the oil actually goes straight through that grate without any friction and then goes down into the bottom. So any splashes or splatter is contained inside the box. Now, as you can see, there's a huge difference in size, right? So again, you have a much bigger area to collect fluids and things like that. So you don't have to worry as much about where this thing is. It's also on wheels, which are lockable. So you can lock those front ones up there so that it won't move once you get it in place. But it's got these big, nice wheels. So if you're rolling over, you know, let's say you got bolts or something dropped on the ground, there's always stuff on the ground, right? This thing makes it really easy to maneuver this into place, especially with that handle on it, versus this thing you kind of have to slide. And again, it's just plastic, so eventually this thing's going to start leaking. It's just sort of a pain in the butt, and it only holds enough fluid to where I have to basically dump this into an old oil container every single time I do an oil change. It basically fills it up. So this is a nice upgrade. So that was kind of the reason why I picked this thing up, was because, you know, I'm doing more and more of my own work. I do have a lift in my garage, that scissor lift that I mentioned, and now with the dual cars, and then my 15-year-old has a car now too. We've got 4 cars for basically 2 drivers, 2.5 if you want to count my son. So a lot more maintenance happening here at the house. So I wanted something where, again, I could just store all my fluids in it, easily pump it out. This thing is pretty easy to put together. There are some steps that come with it. All right, so now that I've kind of touched on the size of it and touched on the benefits of it over my old school sort of plastic one, let's talk a little bit about assembly. I just want to give you a couple of tips. The instructions are okay, but there were a couple things that tripped me up a little bit. So the things that you have to add to this thing, the things that you have to install, are these rear wheels. Now, you're going to notice that there are washers on the inside here, so you want your big bolt to go through here with your washer, sticks out the other side, and then you've got this nut that goes on the end of that big long bolt. That's the way both of those work. So you put those 2 wheels on. That's pretty easy. Then you're going to add this handle next, which is basically just a bolt with a nut on that end that allows you to easily move the thing around, and it also has the hook on it for your pump, your drain tube. So that's where that's going to go. Then you've got these 4 sort of Phillips head screws. They've got 10 mil nuts that go on the bottom of those that are going to hold your pump up. Now, when you're doing this, you want to pay super special attention to this diagram on the end of the pump that shows you the inlet, aka where the oil is going to flow from, to the outlet, which is where it's going to come out of. So I'm going to kick this thing on here in a second and show you, but there is sort of a elbow here, you just kind of have to assemble this stuff. It's pretty clear in the instructions, but just pay attention to it. You also want to make sure this elbow is kind of pointed towards this middle part so that the fluid can go up into it. If it's pointed this way, then the tube is too short. So once you got that on there, you've also got to put these front wheels on, which again are just bolts with nuts on the end of them. And these are lockable too, so if you want this thing to stop moving, you can lock those things up. And then of course you're just going to use these hose clamps all the way around to get your sort of V-shaped thing on the end here so that you can easily pump stuff into, say, an oil container. And then again on this end, you're going to put the little sort of connector on there and then use your hose clamp and attach your hose, and that is going to be your outlet. But so then other than that, that's pretty much it. You're putting on the pump, you're putting on a couple of tubes, the front wheels and the back wheels and the handle, and that's it. Okay, so final sort of piece of this video, I did want to show you just pumping this 6-ish quarts of oil out that I took out of my old car into this container, again to show you how easy this is, how much easier this is than, you know, the old method of trying to dump that old school thing in here without making a mess. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put that down in there, right? And then with your pump on correctly, you've got your button here on the front. You're just going to hit that. You're going to see the oil start to come up through the tube, and boom, it's pumping. Now you want to watch it. You don't want to dry run it. So I'm just going to slowly pump all the oil out of here. Then, you know, you could just easily fill up multiple of these containers and again, take them to your local auto place that's going to take dirty oil. So again, I'm loving this thing. I love how easy it is to use. I love how much capacity it has. So if you are looking for a way and you do a lot of do-it-yourself maintenance, the Garvee oil drain may be a good option for you. So definitely check it out. All right, guys, so that was the Garvee oil drain. This thing is awesome if you have your own lift, but even if you don't, if you just use jack stands and stuff like this, and you've got room to store something like this, again, the time that it's gonna save me, the effort that it's gonna save me, the fact that I can store, you know, probably 50, 60 quarts of oil in here easily before I have to drain it, and then I can just use that pump and just fill up multiple containers and take them to the auto parts store versus having to keep all these containers full of dirty oil one at a time, sitting in my garage, leaking everywhere, making a mess, is pretty handy. I will link to this thing in the description below. It's a little over 200 bucks, which is pretty reasonable for something this awesome. I mean, it's kind of almost like an industrial, commercial grade type of tool. So again, for me, I've done oil changes on all my vehicles for probably the last 30 years. I've been using this little plastic thing. That works fine, but it is a pain in the butt. It does have some downsides. And the Garvee drain gives you a lot of upside and a lot of extra storage capacity and just a much bigger target to hit with your oil and your fluids and stuff like that. So especially on the new car, it had a ton of, 6.4 quarts in it when I do an oil change and filter change. And it kind of tends to go everywhere. So especially if you have off-road skid plates and things like that, I've had problems with my truck before where it kind of hits the skid plate and spreads out, and it's really hard to get it all to go in this tiny little basket. Whereas with this thing, again, you've got a ton of surface space to collect that oil. So really, really a fan of this thing, and hopefully that was helpful for you to show you some of the assembly stuff and the thing in action. So if it was, click that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to click the subscribe button, click the bell to be notified when new videos drop. Do a couple every week, usually something like a gear type video, some general overlanding stuff, and I'm trying to get out on more trips. Had some heart surgery not too long ago. I'm starting to feel better, so I want to get back into it and do more trip videos for you guys. So definitely click that subscribe button. Also below this video is a join button, which is just sort of a passive way to support the channel, get you early access to the videos and the podcast. So if that sounds good, check that out. Of course, if you want to be more active with all things overlanding, there is a link to my Patreon page, which is a bunch of awesome guys. We've got over 20 in there right now. We all kind of hang out in a 24/7 Discord. We do a once-a-month Zoom call, and we are going on 1 or 2 trips a year right now to get together in person and sort of hang out. So if that sounds good, check out the Patreon. There's also a link to my website down there, which will get you to the shop section, which has all things overlanding, stickers and patches, as well as some other funny patches and stickers related to overlanding and camping. Things like don't burn your wiener and it's a hot dog, or I hate people so I camp. So if you want stickers and patches, check that out. And then last but not least, there's a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Now, this group is totally free to join. Tons of awesome people in there, almost 27,000 at the time that I'm recording this, and it's growing every day. So if you are looking for a place to learn about overlanding, or if you're just tired of the big groups and you want to come in and interact with people that are still new and fresh and want to, learn more about overlanding and get out and explore, check out that group. But again, thanks so much for watching. Hope that was helpful. Check out the link in the description below to get your Garvee oil pan, and we'll see you next time.